All right, guys, this episode of the podcast is sponsored by David Shapiro, Remax Around Atlanta Realty. David Shapiro, Remax Around Atlanta Realty, best realtor in Atlanta. He knows inside the perimeter. He knows outside the perimeter. He knows uptown. He knows downtown. He knows clown town. He knows midtown. He knows it all. He knows Cabbage Town. And I tell you what, he doesn't stink like a cabbage does. He's sweet as ice and smooth as jazz, boys. David Shapiro, Remax Around Atlanta Realty. You can find him on this number right here below me. David Shapiro, Remax Around Atlanta Realty. Give him a call for any of your needs. He'll be able to help you out, guaranteed.
Not on the podcast.
Who the hell we
have Mr. Mark Busey from New Jersey from the band Brewster. Very Americana sounding band. Very cool. Get a very good deep dive into his song Last Night in Neverland. And as always, got some Pete Peterson coming for you.
Woo! Roll that motherfucking tape.
Welcome back to Indiebnb. We're joined today by Mark Busey from the band Brewster. Mark, how's it going, man?
It's going great. How are you guys?
We're doing good. And you're in Jersey right now?
I am in the great Jersey City, New Jersey.
Oh man, Garden State, baby.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we got put onto you by our good friends, Brother Moses. They led us to you, and so become fans of your music. And let's start there with the music. How did Brewster come to be?
So Brewster is pretty much the name of my, I guess you could call it a solo project, although these days it doesn't quite feel like that so much because I've got kind of a steady group of guys performing with me. But I'd been playing in bands around New Jersey for I can't even remember how long, but always felt like I wanted to do something kind of on my own where I was maybe more in control of everything, and I was starting to lean towards more this Americana type of music, and didn't really have an outlet for it, so I started doing it myself. And then I always kind of imagined it more as a band when you go see it, but I do everything pretty much at home, save for drums and a couple things here and there. So yeah, I'd say that about wraps it up.
Okay.
Cliff Notes version.
What's kind of your biggest influences, whether it's Americana or not? Just who are some of your idols as a songwriter?
Idols as a songwriter. Jason Molina of Songs of Haya comes up first for sure. Very early on in my Americana process, Jeff Tweedy of Wilco's writing was a big influence on mine. Band Yola Tango, I like the way that they sound a lot, maybe not so much lyrically. But songwriter wise, these days, I mean, like Bruce Springsteen has been huge for me recently, especially lyrically. It's been a few years since I've put anything out, but I've spent that time since I think the record came out in 2019. I've written and recorded a new record since, and that's like a little more deep dive into my influences and some I guess you could call it power pop, like the stuff that Tom Petty was doing late 70s and the 80s, some Springsteen type of stuff, like very truly the stuff that your dad listens to, but also very much still kind of rooted in this like country and Americana thing that has really been the biggest influence for me.
I've never been hit more personally in my life. Like my dad listens to Bruce Springsteen like it's his job.
Boss.
Your dad sounds great.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Just boom, right there. You got it. So yeah, what you're talking writing a new record. You obviously got the records you had before, Forever Better Kisses. But what is your writing process when you go in to start a record?
I don't know if I'm ever sure if I'm starting a record when I do it, but I definitely have like distinct mindsets because I'm always working on something, and for the past 4 or 5 years or whatever it's definitely been pretty much Brewster related. But but there's like two distinct modes I have, where it's like I have writing mode, and then there's like studio crafting mode, because working in the studio is a huge part of how I express myself musically. And when I make a record, it's like it always ends up, it always takes about a year or so, maybe a little longer this time. But the first half is always spent writing, and then the rest is spent crafting those things, like whether it's with demos or in the studio, or like figuring out who's going to play what and that kind of stuff. But when I am writing, I have some kind of some meditation practices that I like to do that revolve kind of around a circular finger picking pattern. And I try to do it first thing in the morning when my brain isn't mucked up by the rest of the day yet. And I kind of just, I'll be honest, I haven't done this in a while because I finished writing this last record a while ago. I've been in studio mode recently. But you kind of just pick a chord shape, and this is guitar talk now, sorry. You pick a chord shape and you do like a little circular type of finger picking pattern. I do one until it feels good, and then I kind of just zone out into it and kind of like loosen up my throat a little bit, and some noises start coming out, and usually they're musical. And I have my phone sitting on voice memo recording the whole time, and I try to do that kind of meditation for like 15 minutes to half an hour or so. And usually what that ends up being is like, just because I'm used to writing songs, my subconscious mind will just or conscious mind maybe will slip into like songwriting mode, and it'll start taking those noises and forming melodies around a thing that it hears. And so I find that like if I'm not in charge of the beginning process, I can really truly feel like I'm expressing myself musically. But if I am in charge, and I'm like, oh, I want to write a song that's like this, or that sounds like this, or whatever, it ends up being overwrought and untrue, I found. So I like starting out that way. And then, how they say like write drunk, edit sober, very much that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like you're almost like literally a machine. Like, it sounds like you got to let everything warm up, let the gears warm up, and then it starts
Absolutely.
the song. But you can't just
yeah. It's constant winter in my brain, and you have to let the engine warm up a little while.
And so so you tend to go into the studio with like a full set of like, here's X amount of songs that I want to record, and then do you do all the mastering and recording and all that stuff?
I tend to record. So we're in my studio right now. If you can see like the treatment and stuff behind me. I am kind of always writing in here, because like I live in my studio, and I'm always writing in here too. So when I have I like to capture a demo of a song like immediately after I feel like it's finished, or if I need to feel like I need to hear what it sounds like coming back at me through the speakers or something like that. But when I do get to the process of recording, I think there's like a certain amount of boxes I have to check to say like, this is this set of however many songs I have decided are complete, and they sound enough alike that I'm going to do a record with them. Here they are, bring them into the studio. That way, when I do get to the tracking part, it's less of a mystery of what is going to be recorded, and it's more like I have these fundamental parts, the structure is done, et cetera, et cetera. And then this time around on this new record, I did less of the recording than I have in the past, and I actually liked that a whole lot. And I think next time I don't want to do any of the recording. I like mixing it, but I think I don't like recording so much. If it's my music, I get a little too in my head.
So you come in there, you record it, and after listening to your Forever Better Kisses album, it really intrigued me. It's so very Americana, very very chill and somber, but it seems like at some point in almost every song there was a part, whether it was like one bar, if it was like a bridge, where you would like kick on the electric guitar and just like wake everybody up. Was that intentional, or was that just you were just in the studio and you were like, okay, let's try this?
So funny enough, when I was doing it, it wasn't intentional, but that very thing that you're talking about, I've been thinking I've been thinking about since, just because the new record is quite different in that regard. There isn't so much of the loud soft thing. With my 2020 glasses on, I think that I can see that the kind of music that I was playing in other bands was like seeping into the way I was dynamically kind of crafting my songs. I was in a band called Man Dancing that was pretty closer to that, like, maybe emo folk, loud, very loud, big climaxes. The soft parts are very soft. And for a while there, I think that just like the way that I expressed, grabbing somebody's attention was to just really make it really loud. And I was playing with a live band a lot, and I really wanted to capture that feeling of hugeness. I'm sure some of it came from Wilco too, who does that a lot in some of their earlier stuff. And I think that's just kind of, until fairly recently, been in my head as like the way to translate this certain kind of emotion is with volume. And since now, however many years later, I'm kind of interested in exploring how to do that without changing the volume or the intensity or kicking on a overdrive pedal or something like that.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us right into our song spotlight of Last Night in Neverland, because that, first song on the album, but I put it on and that immediately caught my attention, and I really dove right into it. So let's
awesome.
Let's start from the beginning. From
for sure
to how did you finish it up on that song?
Okay, this is great. Nobody's ever asked me about this song, and I've always wanted to talk about it. There's a couple little hidden things in there. So the first thing that I wrote for that song, there was like a period of time when I was still in my old band and I didn't even like have a name for my solo music yet, and I was just I was in the writing mode thing. So I was just like, I was accumulating voice memos and not even really sure what kind of music I wanted to make, but I had this one like chord progression that I really, really liked. And it was the chord progression that ends up being like the first loud part of Last Night in Neverland. And I had that, and I remember like slamming on my acoustic guitar and feeling like this feels really loud and it's awesome. I think this might be track one of whatever ends up being the thing. So Last Night in Neverland was like all from like 3 years before I even finished the record. I knew it was going to be track one. And that loud part kind of like, I don't know, I guess it stems back to that idea of like, I want to bring you in with like the dreamy lo-fi feeling at the beginning, and I want to draw the listener in really close, and then when they're really close, just hit them point blank in the teeth and knock them out. And so I got this idea production wise from LCD Sound Systems, Dance Yourself Clean. I don't know if you're familiar with that song, but the first, like, there it is. Okay, never mind. I guess that's like a redundant question nowadays.
My favorite
but
song.
Like the first, okay, awesome. So the first minute of that song is really, really low in volume, like physically decibels. It's like a solid 5 dB lower than the actual rest of the record, but it's the first track. So when you put it on, you're never, and this is a bit of like a mastering trick too, and a mix trick and all that kind of stuff, but you put it on and you're never quite sure exactly what the level of the record you're going to listen to is. And so you hear the song and it sounds kind of quiet, and you're like, oh, all right, I guess this record's a little quieter, and you turn your volume up a bunch, and it sits you there for like a minute and a half or something, and you're drawn in and you fully think that that's the volume. But then the song actually starts in the actual volume, which is like 5, even maybe 10 dB louder, kicks in, and then it gives you this effect of this, that difference of loud to soft is something that you can't achieve if the whole thing is actually mixed like the volume it's supposed to be. And it doesn't work unless you put that right at the beginning, because otherwise the volume will already be set and they'll be like, oh, what happened, and move in the middle and kind of distract them. So I always had that in the back of my head, like, that's such a clever idea. I'd love to try something like that, but not with electronic music per se. And so I did that in Last Night in Neverland. That whole first part that's just voice and acoustic is mixed quite a bit lower. than when the actual band comes in, which is mixed at the level of what the rest of the record is, which is more like, standard broadcast volume, decibel, all that kind of stuff. And then in the actual intro itself, like it's still dense, like there's other guitar parts moving around, and I mixed those all around this one central point of being lower than the other. So when it does kick in, I wanted it to have the same feeling as like when I played it with a drummer in a room. Like that difference in decibel of a person playing guitar and singing into a microphone can't be replicated on a record but through normal means. Like that crazy intense different volume of a person introducing a song and then a drummer coming in, you wouldn't necessarily want that difference of volume in a recording. So that was an idea that I had to kind of translate that feeling. And then lyrically, it took me forever to figure out what the song was about. And I think it was actually towards the end of writing the record that I figured out what it was going to be. But all I had at first was like the word unremarkable, and something. I think I had the phrase "last night in Neverland" at first. So I like kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do. But I really liked that the phrase, when you say it out loud, "last night in Neverland," could mean two things. It could mean last night when I was in Neverland, or it could also mean this is our final night in Neverland. So that, not really juxtaposition, but that kind of dual meaning, that dichotomy right there kind of informed like, okay, what is the song going to be about? And then I had the word unremarkable so that was like, that came out in one of those writing things that I was talking about earlier. And thinking back to when I was writing it, it kind of formed into this idea of like, how do I write a song that is expressing how I feel now? And when I say now, I think I was like 26 at the time, and I felt like I was stuck in a kind of permanent adolescence type of thing. And that phrase "last night in Neverland" was making me think of are they called the Lost Boys in Peter Pan? The people that never grow up, right?
Yep.
So I was thinking like that me and all my like, NJ DIY show people feel like, the Lost Boys and girls of Peter and Pan, Peter Pan, because we're all, getting closer to 30, and we've all been told this certain idea of what your life is supposed to look like at this age, and we were kind of fighting against that. But I also felt like the clock was ticking, which I think is a theme throughout the record. So there was I wanted a feeling of like, this is my last night in Neverland, but also I want it to feel like, do you remember when we used to be in Neverland at the same time?
Yeah.
And so the lyrics came out about, and they're sort of true, not that exact moment, but the scene that talks about going into a liquor store and seeing a friend work there that's been working there forever. I was thinking of a specific person when I wrote that, but not in a negative way, in a good way. I had a friend that worked at this liquor store forever, and I would see them only when I went to that store. And I had it in my head that one of the reasons that I was stuck in the kind of adolescent feeling was because I was chasing this dream of being a musician, and I didn't necessarily feel like I had a choice whether I was following that vision or not. Like it was either I'd try to follow this type of lifestyle or I'd be unhappy. Like that's an obvious choice. So I felt kind of stuck like in this lane that my life was living at that point. And so running into this person at the liquor store is a glimpse of what, if perhaps I wasn't forced to make that, I'm obviously not forced, but feeling compelled to make that choice, what it could look like. And I remember there's a line about asking the person what they're up to now, and they say, "Just this for now." And then leaving the store feeling like, man, I wish I could just respond that way and not be filled with a feeling of guilt, like I should be saying more, or like I should be presenting something more, or all of that. And then one of my favorite studio tricks is right in that line too. I think the line is, I asked what you're hammering down, meaning like I asked what you're up to. And right when that happens, my drummer, Tom DeVinco, hits the side of his drum to make it sound like a hammer, and he goes, tap, 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 tap. But he does it rhythmically. I think that's all the little tricks. Yeah, that's essentially, there's a couple other verses, but I don't really remember them at this moment. But that is the feeling of that song for sure.
Man, that is awesome. That is like from.
So that was really long-winded. Sorry.
No, I mean that's what we want. We want to take a deep dive into one of your songs, and I'm always just from like growing up with CDs and stuff, like whatever the first song on an album is really has to bring it, or else the rest of the album to me can fall flat.
Agree.
So I've just always, even now with the digital age where you can just skip right over it, it's been something of mine where I'm like, you got to have a good first song to bring everything.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it. I agree.
I
agree. Thank you so much.
But yeah, man. With that, I think it's time to head into some Pete Peterson's party pack of questions and see what you're made of.
Okay, all right. I'll do my best.
Right. Of course, Brewster. I'll try to take it easy on you since you're a friend of our good friends brother Moses. But I got one Jersey question for him from when we talked to Local Nomad, one of our buddies from Charleston. He moved from Jersey. But do you know this guy Snake Child? Like, have you ever heard anybody talk about a guy named Snake Child?
Nope.
All right. This guy is full of shit, though. The guy, Local Nomad was like, everybody in Jersey knows this guy named Snake Child. He's like some crazy guy that is just like some kind of myth that everyone knows about. And like, I'm like, all right,
is this like a Jersey devil? Like this is a monster, or is this a person?
It's a real guy that like has like he like, you can go listen to Local Nomad's song called Snake Child, and he was talking about, he has like all these, it's like a crazy story and like very interesting. I think he's like a drug dealer, and there's just like so many different like aspects to him, but he's like this mythical figure from Jersey, and I'm like, all right, I gotta ask about Snake Child.
I don't know if I'm cool enough to have ever met Snake Child.
You like grinded with Rihanna in a bar or something.
Yeah,
like one of the lines of the song. So
yeah, I've never seen Rihanna in New Jersey either.
I don't know. He may have been hanging out in New York. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta ask about Snake Child. It's my one Jersey bugger. But
sorry to let you down.
Hey, it's all right. Hey, it's just more evidence for us. We try to cross pollinate with all these podcasts we do. So, Pete Peterson's party pack questions, 20 questions right in a row. Here we go. Cake or pie?
Sorry?
Cake or pie?
Cake or pot?
Pie. Would you rather eat cake or pie?
Oh, pie.
He's a pie guy. All right, here we go. Candy corn or candy pumpkins?
Candy corn.
Candy corn. All right. Would you rather go day drinking or drinking all night?
Day drinking.
Day drinking. All right. Are aliens real?
For sure.
For sure. Okay. Bigfoot, is he real?
I don't know. I hope so.
Okay, he's hopeful. Are robots going to take over the world?
Depends on the loose term of robot, I suppose, but artificial intelligence, yeah, I think we'll reach singularity and lose that fight. Yeah.
All right, good. We got only a little bit of time left. Let's make some more music, baby, and let's party. All right. When you walk into that party, are you more likely to do the robot, or would you rather be caught doing the worm?
Robot, for sure.
He's a robot.
Nobody wants to see me try the worm.
I don't know. I think it'd be good. Just consider it next time. All right.
Okay.
Tenders or wings? Tendies or wings? What do you got?
Oh, wings. Absolutely. No
question.
question.
You getting ranch or blue cheese with the wings? Ranch or blue cheese?
So I'm gonna say neither. Is that an option?
Sure. What are you putting on your? Well, then
just straight. It's already covered in something so delicious. I don't want to mess with that.
He's a wing purist. I've never met one before. I like it. You don't muck up your wings.
You know,
Straight
Mecca, they
pure
would put
chicken.
ranch in the dressing if it was part of the sauce, but it's already otherwise just have chicken. It's chicken with buffalo sauce. You don't need another. That's how I've always felt. I like buffalo sauce.
I like it. I like it. Cool. All right. Vintage or new?
Vintage, I guess. I'm a
Okay.
contrarian asshole.
All right. All right. Dogs or cats?
Ooh, my heart says dogs, but I love cats.
Okay. Okay. A little bit of both. Waffles or pancakes?
Ooh, waffles for Waffle House, but I never order them. But just because they created Waffle House, I'll go with waffles.
Okay. All right. Big Waffle House guy. I like it. Circus peanuts. Have you ever heard of these? The big orange peanuts you buy at the gas station. Do you like it?
Absolutely. Do I like them? I don't know if I've ever actually eaten them. I'm not sure if they were edible or not.
They're not.
Oh, they're very much edible.
He's like shaking
and they're
his
very
head
good.
like, don't do it. They're good.
They're good.
Oh,
I got this.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try it out.
It's an unpopular opinion, but they are very good.
Okay.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately for me and everyone involved.
All right, night in or night out? What are you going with?
Night in.
A night in. Okay, on your night in, are you going to be watching a movie or a TV show?
If it's like a true like self-care night in, it'll be a movie. But if it's just like a night in because I didn't feel like going out, probably just a TV show.
Gotcha. All right, chips or pretzels? What's your preferred snack?
Chips.
He's a chips guy. All right, sunrises or sunsets? What do you like seeing better?
Sunsets.
Okay.
Although the sunrise is a special treat, but I'll go with the sunset.
I like it. All right, and this was inspired by your Instagram. I saw you posted on there saying that you were team shorts on stage. So shorts or pants, man? What are you going with?
We need some more
basis?
context for that. That's a loaded question.
Shorts or pants?
What season is it? What am I doing? Where am I going? Do I have a date?
Right now, shorts and pants.
What are you wearing?
Right now, I'm wearing shorts.
He's wearing shorts. All right, there it is. I like it. And of course, our final question: how we found you, how we love to build this podcast. What are some bands we don't know that we ought to check out?
Okay, so number one would be a band called Wishy Washy, also from New Jersey. In my opinion, one of the greatest bands around, at our tier or whatever you want. I don't even want to put them in that, but I like them a whole lot. And we now have a big center of our Venn diagrams, us and Wishy Washy, but they're kind of like if Fleet Foxes was way more into the band. And I love them a lot. They're really good. And then the other band is going to be a band called Edna out of New York City that I like a lot. I think he's only put out 2 or maybe 3 songs at this point. Both of them are hitters. But I have heard plenty more to come, and they play around in New York a bunch, and they're just really, really great. Mike, the guy from Edna, is a wonderful songwriter and a peer of mine, and I would just love some more people to hear that music because it's really, really great. He's a big songwriting inspiration of mine.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. We got Wishy Washy and Edna, a couple of Northeastern powerhouses to be soon.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you so much for joining me on Pete Peterson's Party Pack of Questions.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course,
Yeah,
Tash, take us home.
Mark, what do you got any shows coming up? Where can people see it?
Yeah. December 8th, playing with String Machine in New Jersey at a place called Crossroads. That's going to be a huge gig. That's the only one we have right now coming up, and we've only done one since post-COVID. That's officially all that's on the books right now. But I guess I can say on the podcast, we will be touring in January, and then I'll just say there's plenty to come. But right now, tickets are available for the December 8th show at Crossroads in Garwood, New Jersey with String Machine. And if y'all don't know String Machine, please check them out. The best band in the world from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, coming through New Jersey on tour. We're happy to play with them. And that's it. Yeah, and then it's a little more stuff in January, but December 8th.
December 8th. Everyone get out there. Everyone go to brewster.bandcamp.com. Get some merch. Get a postcard. I might order one after I get off the computer here.
Go for it.
But Mark, it's been a blast having you on here, and hopefully we can have you on again and come see you play one day.
Thank you, guys. That'd be great. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.